We have a major Lakers trade update to go over today as a new report has dropped revealing some very interesting information surrounding Rob Pelinka and his trade plans. We're going to break down those reports and discuss what this means going forward as the Lakers are actively engaged in several different trade talks and are planning to do something big. So stay tuned for all that in this episode, folks. But before we get into it, quick reminder, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers. And if you're a part of the 83% who aren't subscribed to the channel and you enjoy daily Lakers content, make sure to smash that subscribe button. It would mean the world to myself and everybody else here. So thank you guys for that. And we will have a video following tonight's game as well. So stay tuned for that. We also have a couple injury updates in this video to go over ahead of tonight's game as well. So a lot of things to go over today. But ladies and gentlemen, it's no secret the Lakers are involved in a lot of trade talks, whether that's, Zach LaVine, whether that's Robert Williams. There is a lot of different things that Rob Pelinka is trying to, work out when it comes to making a deal that will make this team better and put them over the top. And what is going to be a huge trade deadline for this team, especially given the current situation with LeBron, his uncertainty regarding his future, all these different things, AD. But a report has dropped, and you can see this from a couple days ago. The Bulls discussed Zach LaVine trades with the Nuggets and the Lakers. Now, we do have a couple of other reports here to go over because things are a little bit interesting here. But the Bulls, again, they discussed trades with the Nuggets and the LA Lakers. So, LaVine is a very interesting situation. Now, there are some reports that have come out, and we'll go over here. So, Lakers' interest in Zach LaVine. Among the franchises that express interest in LaVine, that Lakers emerge as a prominent contender in the trade discussions. A recent report by Joe Cowley of the Chicago Sun-Times hinted at the Lakers' pursuit of the talented guard, indicating that talks have progressed significantly earlier in the season. However, the intricate nature of NBA trades often hinges on aligning pieces to fit the puzzle, and at that time, the Lakers were unable to present a compelling package to secure LaVine's services. So this is very interesting, and the fact that they advance in very far talks and deep talks with Zach LaVine is intriguing to me. Now, at this time when they were having these talks, they, of course, had D'Angelo Russell, which made the salaries a lot easier to match. Since then, they've traded D'Lo, they've acquired DFS, and reports have started to circulate a little bit. But before we get into the other reports, Zach LaVine in itself is a very interesting, thought process, because he is an extremely talented player. I mean, you look at his stats, he is extremely talented. 23 points a game. He shoots great from three. I mean, he's having a resurgence year. And last season, obviously, he was coming back. He came back towards the end of the season, was dealing with a ton of injuries. And those injuries ultimately, percolated him having a pretty rough year for his standards. I mean, he was still fairly efficient, but he's shooting almost over 10% better, almost 10% better this season from three. Last year, 34.9%. This year, 44.4%. So almost 10% better from three. And he's shooting 7 of them a game, shooting 44%. And when you're looking at it from the Chicago Bulls perspective, I mean, the Bulls are in, you'd assume, sell mode, retool mode, maybe. They have Nikola Vucevic. He's been on the block. Zach LaVine. They've been trying to sell him for trade him for 2 deadlines. Now, we heard last trade deadline, the Raptors were interested, all these different things. And now he's coming out. He's having a resurgence season. Not going to say a career year, but a resurgence season. And there are a lot of teams. He's having his most efficient season of his career. And there are a lot of teams who could, use his services. And it would make sense, quite frankly, for the Lakers. But real reports have kind of dropped here. So you can see this here. The Chicago Bulls have made it no secret they've tried to trade Zach LaVine. Earlier in the season, the Bulls held trade talks with the Lakers. Those talks didn't go very far, and with the Lakers having traded D'Lo, it's unlikely those talks will pick up. Chicago has more recently engaged the Denver Nuggets on a possible deal for LaVine. Those talks aren't dead, but they have stalled. Meanwhile, LaVine is putting together one of the best seasons of his career. The veteran wing is averaging almost 24 a game on 52, 44, 81 splits. LaVine is also grabbing 5 rebounds and 4.4 assists per night. And that's basically the most recent report that has come out. The Bulls have discussed a potential Zach LaVine trade, but the talks didn't progress very far. So, does it seem like a deal like this is going to happen? Probably not with the Lakers at this point. And I saw this article from, a few weeks ago, and you can see this here. Unless there's a D'Lo trade, it's hard to see the Lakers making the necessary roster improvements. They either have to, move Russell to create some space or do some other things. And this, I'm including this just kind of show you what the talks probably were like. It was Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt, D'Lo, and of course, a second for Zach LaVine. Now, this is pure salary. I mean, if you're the Lakers, you do this in a heartbeat in theory. I mean, it was D'Lo and salary dump for Zach LaVine, although Jared Vanderbilt is making his way back. And the reason this is relevant is because when you look at what Rob Pelinka needs to do now going forward, is it acquire a player like Zach LaVine? Maybe. But they've been having a lot of these talks, and this helps foreshadow some of the future moves and some of the plans that Rob Pelinka is having in the future. Because are they going to get Zach LaVine? Probably not. But what they can do is use this as a framework now and start to think about what type of other moves they're interested in. They got Dorian Finney-Smith. They're looking very solid with DFS. Are they going to go out and make a big swing, whether that be a player like DeJounte Murray, whether that be some other player who pops up who we didn't expect to be available at the deadline, who's very elite. There's a lot of different ways to go about this here, but the most important one is that they're expressing interest, whether it's the start of the season or now. They're expressing a lot of interest in these high-level players. Now, is Zach LaVine, a be-all, end-all superstar? Absolutely not. But he is an extremely good player, and to see the Lakers go out and be pursuing a lot of these guys is super intriguing. And again, I don't think LaVine would have solved all the problems. He doesn't give anything defensively. He's a very, very poor defender. And essentially at this point now, they need a mix of defense. I mean, you have Jared Vanderbilt coming back, who's one of the best isolation defenders in basketball. So if you can keep him, and I don't think they're going to make a huge blockbuster trade, but it starts to become interesting now to see all these different trades that they've been discussing behind the scenes. And now they're obviously only coming to light now. And it's exciting. Granted, again, also let me know down below. I'm just kind of curious. Again, this deal is not possible now because they traded D'Angelo Russell. Would this have been a deal that you guys would have been interested in doing? Basically, salary dump in a second for Zach LaVine. I know the fan base is kind of split on Zach LaVine. One half loves him, one half, not necessarily Lakers fan base, just even the Bulls fan base in general. He's having a great year. He would be an elite scorer. And when you think about the team now, you have Dorian Finney-Smith to help make up for some of that, defense that Zach LaVine, again, between Zach LaVine and D'Lo, they're both pretty bad defenders. So it would have been interesting. I still think there's a possibility for the Lakers to find, get a third team involved and find a way to get Zach LaVine if they can get a third team involved. But at the same time, it's going to be interesting to see how they go about their trade deadline here. And is this likely? No, it's not likely at this point. The talks have stalled a little bit, but I wanted to bring this up because it kind of foreshadows some of the future and some of the future plans for the Los Angeles Lakers. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on this. And as you look at some of their salary cap here, things also start to get a little bit interesting because, next season's going to be really tight for the LA Lakers. You think about LeBron James, obviously he's going to, get up to 52 million. AD is going to get up to 57, and he's going to be, obviously he's on the Supermax, making 68 million up in 2027. So specifically for next season, a lot of these players are going to be making a lot of money. So it's going to be critical for the Lakers to go out and actually, get something done. Maybe this is the year before the salaries start kicking in. So it's going to be very interesting to see. Let me know in the comments if anything out of this, salary cap chart stands out to you. It's interesting. It's very interesting. Also, regarding tonight's game, AD and LeBron are both probable. Again, we're going up against the San Antonio Spurs. Jalen Hood-Schifino is out. Jared Vanderbilt is out, and Christian Wood is also out. Unfortunately, we were hoping to see Jared Vanderbilt play tonight, but he is going to be out. They're being very cautious with him and going to keep playing it very cautious because hopefully when he comes back, he can provide some of the point of attack defense that the Lakers desperately need. But let me know down below what your thoughts are on this. More trade, reports are going to keep circulating. The trade deadline is approaching. The Lakers are involved in all these talks. We're going to keep you up to date with all the latest news. Cheers.